The CPI report is officially out, which gives us the best numbers on inflation. And what will this mean for the Fed interest rate in September? And how might this impact our markets? Former President Trump and Vice President Harris both released some of their plans on the economy. And the last thing that we're going to be going over is Celsius sues Tether for over $2.4 billion. Make sure you guys tune in all the way to the end of this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to the end. And if you guys could share my videos and share my channel with anyone, I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can. I definitely need your guys' help in doing so. Getting started. Today's gonna be Saturday, August 17th. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $2.09 trillion. This is a 0.45% increase on the day today. Fear and greed index right now for cryptocurrency, we're at a 44, so we are in the neutral. Bitcoin currently trading at $59,290. Ethereum $2,609, and XRP right now at 56.61 cents. Getting into our biggest gainers and losers on the day today, we got Helium right here, currently up 7.2%, doing pretty well. We got Ruin 6.6%, and then we got Jasmine 6.3%. Biggest losers on the day today, currently OM 2.4%, Uni 1.9, as well as APT both down 1.9%. Now, we haven't really had a big movement in the markets, kind of staying stagnant right now with cryptocurrency from where we were on our last video. Getting into our CPI numbers. So the Consumer Price Index is a measure of the average change over the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. And the CPI for all items rises 0.2% in July. So in July, the consumer price index for all urban consumers rose 0.2%, seasonally adjusted, and rose 2.9% over the last 12 months. So this is where they get the inflation number. So when they say inflation, we're at 2.9%. So a bunch of people are saying that our inflation numbers, which, is pretty on par, is roughly just under 3%. And this is the first time since, I believe, of 2021, since we've fallen under that 3%. So all items, food, energy, all items, less food, and energy. So that's how we get our CPI data. And a bunch of people are predicting that due to this, we had a better than expected CPI number, that the interest rates are essentially going to have to go down by the Fed. People were predicting that we were going to see a big rate cut at a 50 basis points, which is a 0.5%. So half of a percent rate cut. But since we had these numbers, they're predicting it's going to be a 25 basis points because they don't want to over leverage their hand. So expect to see, again, nothing I say in this video should be considered financial advice, but expect to see at the FOMC meeting in September, Fed Chair Jerome Powell going to decrease interest rates 25 basis points, or 0.25%, so a quarter of a percent. And markets should react good, in my opinion, to this. But again, nothing I say should be considered financial advice. Make sure you guys do your guys' own independent research before making any financial decisions. European Union sends letter to Elon Musk demanding him to censor Donald Trump during their upcoming interview. So if you guys want to read this, again, everything that I talk about in the video is going to be down below in the comments. But the EU wanted to censor Donald Trump because Elon decided to host former President Trump on his X platform. You guys can go on X. The full interview has been posted live. Elon Musk says almost all of the legacy media will trash the Trump conversation, just driving total listeners probably past the 200 million plus mark. So we had a lot of people that were talking about this. There were over 1 billion people that actually interacted with this interview. Now, there wasn't 1 billion that were talking in the interview, listening in the interview, but over 1 billion users were posting, listening, as well as retweeting, commenting, whatever you guys want to call it. So just the interactions, there were over 1 billion users. Now, again, the global population is over 8 billion. So having a little over 10% of the global population listening to this interview, wondering what's going on, posting about it. Obviously, not everyone's going to be super happy about it, but they were still posting and commenting about it. Now, former President Trump announces his 20 core promises. Number 1, seal the border and stop migrant invasion. 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. Number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into the manufacturing superpower. Number 6, large tax cut for workers and no tax on tips. We saw Vice President Kamala Harris come out and talk about how she doesn't want to tax tips, which was kind of funny because she was the deciding vote in 2022, where it was a 50-50 in the Senate for votes, and then she was the deciding factor where that they were actually going to have the IRS track and make sure that tips were taxed. So now for her to flip flop, kind of hilarious. So she took that from former President Trump. Defend our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the freedom to keep and bear arms. Number 8, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. Number 9, end the weaponization of governments against the American people. Number 10, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, lock up violent offenders. Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Number 12, strengthen and modernize our military, making it, without a question, the strongest and most powerful in the world. Number 13, keep our U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Number 14, fight and protect for the Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no change in the retirement age. Number 15, cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costs of the and burdensome regulations. Number 16, cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Number 17, keep men out of women's sports. Number 18, deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Number 19, secure our elections, including the same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. And number 20, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. 100% agree with these 20 core promises. Again, if you guys disagree, put them down in the comments below. But to me, those are 20 great core promises. And we saw Vice President Kamala Harris come out and say, when I am president, it will be my day one priority to bring prices down. I'll take on big corporations that engage in the illegal price gouging and corporation landlords from unfairly raising rents on working families. What's kind of hilarious, though, and hypocritical is she's already in the White House. You are the vice president. You have the second in command, and you have the first in command, the president of the United States, that you can talk to on a daily basis. Why aren't you doing any of this right now? Former President Trump can't do any of his 20 core promises right now because he's not in office. You're in office. Why aren't you fighting these big corporations now? Everything that she's saying, everything that she's come out with for her policies, she could either do or has been against, like the tax on tips. So just hypocritical. And then obviously the media bias. So we see Elon Musk, the EU wanted to stop and censor former President Trump in the interview, but Time had this magazine for former President Trump and now has this magazine title cover page for Vice President Harris. Her movement. Obviously, there is media bias. We saw this with Google. If you guys watch my TikToks, again, Big Dog Investing on TikTok, you guys can see some of this stuff. And then also in the YouTube Shorts, I post all of it as well. Just in, Vivek Ramaswamy predicts Kamala Harris will embrace the Bitcoin and crypto industry. I think that it'll be a good thing for our country. It should not be a partisan issue. Completely agree, whether who's in office, whether it's former President Trump if he wins the presidency, or Vice President Harris if she wins the presidency. Either one should obviously see innovation grow here in the United States, and there's nothing that's saying that Bitcoin or crypto as a whole is a partisan issue. This should be a nonpartisan issue because it's just going to further the United States technological wise. This is really big. So hackers may have stolen the Social Security numbers for every American from the national public data, around 2.9 billion records per the LA Times. Now, obviously, we don't have this many people here in the United States, but over 2.9 billion records were stolen. They haven't really gotten into a huge detail, and they haven't figured out exactly what was stolen, but it did hold a lot or almost all of the Social Security numbers of everyone here in the United States, which is roughly about 333.3 million people. So, this should be deeply concerning because a lot of people, when you guys retire, you guys are paying into Social Security. If your guys' Social Security numbers are stolen, once you reach this retirement age, this data has already been sold to somebody and they could start trying to pull from your retirement. Also, on top of this, If they have your social security number, they can essentially go in, apply to anybody online for credit cards, and get your guys' credit card information, steal your guys' identity, and then apply for these credit cards and basically destroy your credit score, while also on top of that, now putting you in debt while they're spending all of your guys' money. So make sure you guys research some of this stuff and how to protect your guys' self. I wanted you guys to be aware of this. Now, John Deaton, who is fighting against Elizabeth Warren for the Senate seat in Massachusetts, is saying Elizabeth Warren just sent a text message saying the following. It's Elizabeth Warren. We recently found out that a super PAC supporting my Republican opponent, a crypto lawyer from Rhode Island, recruited to run against me, raked in $2 million from three massive donations from two crypto billionaires and one big crypto firm. It's absolutely critical we respond to this super PAC's fundraising with a strong surge of support. Obviously, she's basically just trying to get a bunch of money to basically fund her campaign efforts. She's been absolutely horrible. She's made a lot of money in stocks since she's been in office. She's been in office for quite a long time as well, and we haven't really seen anything out. In my opinion, I think we just need to see new blood. If somebody's been in politics and been in a Senate seat or a House of Representative seat for 10, 15, 20 years and we're not seeing any positive growth in our country, in my opinion, somebody deserves to unseat them. Do I think John Deaton could do a great job? I'm iffy on it. I think he could do better than Elizabeth Warren because we haven't seen anything come out of her, but we won't know until he actually goes in. And in my opinion, I think he can do well for me personally, just because he is a pro crypto person in the government if he does get elected. And obviously, he wants to see cryptocurrency growth, and which is part of the reason why if I lived in Massachusetts, I would vote for him. I don't. I live in Arizona, so I won't be voting for him. I can't vote for him. But if he did run in Arizona, I would be voting for him. So, do with that what you guys will. But obviously, these big people in Congress right now, in the House and also in the Senate, and Elizabeth Warren is in the Senate, are basically just trying to fund their own campaigns to keep on fundraising and doing all of this stuff so they can make even more money while they're in office, because they use a lot of this information as insider trading and buy and sell stocks based on the news that they receive. Bloomberg Crypto says world's digital ID is building the future for AI defense. WorldCoin, cryptocurrency that's been out for a little bit. This one, in my opinion, is kind of crazy. I will not be buying into this cryptocurrency. It's had a nice run, a little bit here and there. Had a nice breakout to what, $12 a coin roughly. Yeah, just shy of $12. Currently, right now at $1.49. But WorldCoin, when you guys sign up to get into this cryptocurrency, sorry, there it is. When you sign up to get into this cryptocurrency, they want to take a retina scan of your guys' eye. Obviously, for me, that's a little bit too much. They're going to try to track everything that you guys do. And in my opinion, I don't want to be a part of that. So I won't be investing in that coin. I don't agree with it. But people have made money and people have lost money. Just in, Coinbase reports that Bitcoin ETF inflows during recent price dip, signaling promising new capital interest. Capital interest, which means the big investors, the institutions. And Bitcoin Magazine says BlackRock and Fidelity now own a combined 524,390 Bitcoin, currently worth $31.6 billion from their spot Bitcoin ETFs. Over 500K in Bitcoin of the 21 million total Bitcoin belongs to just two ETFs alone. So big people right now are buying Bitcoin ETFs as well as Ethereum ETFs, which aren't shown in this article. Liquidators for failed cryptocurrency hedge fund Three Arrows Capital are seeking at least a $1.3 billion from the bankrupt Terraform Labs for losses of to fund suffered following the 2022 crash of the Terra USD and Luna tokens. So this is the cryptocurrency that we saw the massive rug pull. I believe it's known as Luna Classic right now. I just want to show you guys how terrible this was. So currently, like a millionth of a cent. But this cryptocurrency was trading roughly, 25, 30 cents, had a nice big run up to over $100 per coin. And then in less than probably an hour, the coin dipped from $100 all the way down to hundreds of thousands of millions of a penny. Absolutely ridiculous. And because of this, a bunch of people lost a bunch of money. People were taking out mortgages on their house, second mortgages. People were trying to fund their retirement with this coin. Don't do any of that. Don't put any money in any investment that you guys aren't willing to lose. Same thing with gambling. Obviously, you invest and also gamble at your guys' own risk, but do what you guys will with the risk that you guys are taking. So don't lose your entire mortgage. Don't lose your entire life savings. Don't lose your entire life in general based on an investment. Okay. Celsius sues Tether for 2.4 billion in Bitcoin. Tether strikes back, calls this a shakedown. If you guys want to read more about this, you guys can. But right here it says, according to the Bloomberg post of Tether in 2022, the company and Celsius inked an agreement where Celsius borrowed the USDT from Tether using Bitcoin as collateral. When the price of Bitcoin dropped, Celsius refused to provide additional collateral as required by the agreement. Tether then liquidated the Bitcoin collateral as part of their agreement terms when Celsius failed to meet its obligations, the firm explained. So, some big news coming out of this. We'll see what happens. In my opinion, it's big news, but I'm not invested in either one, so don't really care too much. $2.8 trillion asset manager Goldman Sachs discloses $418 million of Bitcoin ETFs holdings. So we're seeing a lot of these old institutions starting to get into the current technology, buying these Bitcoin ETFs. So in my opinion, obviously pretty good growth, and we're still in the early stages in my opinion. Crypto.com becomes the UEFA Champions League official cryptocurrency partner. I'm iffy on if I think that cryptocurrency firms, exchanges, or even just coins in general should be sponsoring stuff. We saw um, a lot of just scams in the cryptocurrency industry. We saw Sam Bankman Fried's cryptocurrency exchange go down as one of the worst in history. And he was in a bunch. He was sponsoring some of these stadiums. He was doing a whole bunch, and his whole company went down because he was embezzling all of this money from the company. And FTX failed. FTX went bankrupt. He ended up trying to flee out of the United States, was caught, was found guilty, and they're sentencing him into prison. Obviously, a huge scam in the industry. And obviously, they're spending a bunch of their money that they've basically gotten in fees, and they're using this money to sponsor these clubs and organizations to get their name out there. In my opinion, I think it's too early to do this, but again, what do I know? And only time will tell if this will actually be good. But from the FTX scandal, in my opinion, I would say no. Nothing against crypto.com. I like crypto.com. Don't use them. I might open up an account with them. But as of right now, just I don't really agree with the whole sponsorship deals with these big organizations. I know that like VeChain is a sponsor with the UFC. But they're not sponsoring the entire UFC. They're one of the name sponsors, like with like Monster Energy drink and some other ones that are out there. You guys see them on the ring all the time. SEC approves the first leverage long of MicroStrategy ETF. So this is a 1.75 or 175% in the daily percentage change in the share price of MicroStrategy. In my opinion, I agree with this a little bit. Again, you guys are betting into the market, so don't use a bunch of money. But if you guys want to get into some leverages, some longs, or some shorts in the markets, I'm not doing any of that. I buy my cryptocurrency and am currently holding them. But I'm not looking to do any longs and shorts into the markets, just not for me right now. But, I'm not against anyone doing it as long as they do so strategically and then also willing to take risks because you can lose a bunch of money into the markets. Ripple said it has begun testing the new stablecoin RLUSD on the XRP ledger and Ethereum mainnet. This is one of the reasons why I love Ripple as a company. We just saw the remedies phase end with the Ripple versus the SEC lawsuit. Just want to see where we were at time wise. So we just saw them end with the Ripple versus the SEC lawsuit. The judge officially made her ruling, and Ripple was ordered to pay a small amount of money compared to the over $2 billion that the SEC wanted out of Ripple. So we saw the remedies phase end. From the end date, we have 60 days for the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission of the United States, to appeal Judge Torres's ruling. In my opinion, I don't think that they're going to appeal that ruling. They might wait to appeal the entire case as a whole. But only time will tell. We'll see what happens with it. Traders have locked in over $2 million in the XRPs at $1.10 call options listed on the Durbit exchange, the highest across all available maturities. Some market observers' opinion that this may be due to the speculation around the XRP ETF. So obviously, we're going to see a big price increase. Again, no financial advice. If we do see an XRP ETF get called out and we see some of these applications start flowing into the SEC, because if the SEC approves this, which they will probably have to do since they got destroyed in the courts by Ripple, They can't stop it from happening. They tried in the courts for over 4 years now. And now, if we see this, in my opinion, I think that this is going to have a nice price increase of the XRP token. Obviously, with Bitcoin rising in price, the rest of cryptocurrency as well, we're going to see a compilation, in my opinion. Adding on to this, I see a nice price increase. So, this $1.10 call options, I think, are actually a great option. Again, no financial advice. And again, I'm not going to be doing any call options. Stuart Alvarado says he has a great conversation with this guy over at CoinDesk about the SEC versus Ripple. The public verdict is in, and Ripple is the clear winner. If you guys want to read more about this, again, click this right here from the link in the comments, and it'll take you guys to the article. From Bloomberg, for your guys' information, Bloomberg Crypto, the outcome of the Ripple versus the SEC case could help shape the future of the crypto battles. In doing so, this means that since Ripple won, it sets a lot of precedent in the court cases that the SEC comes against for other crypto firms. So a lot of these crypto currency companies that get sued by the SEC can now use Ripple as precedent. So they should use them and thank them in the process for this. Because without Ripple fighting this fight, no other cryptocurrency, in my opinion, besides Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum, could have standed a chance against the SEC. They're lucky Ripple had a bunch of money and capital to fight this fight, but at what cost did it affect the XRP price? And then also the, in my opinion, the what's the right term? I guess the confidence that people have in investing in that cryptocurrency without it being known as a scam. Even though it won in the court battles, it still has that taint on its record, that smear. So, obviously we'll see what happens with this. Only time's going to tell, but Binance.us comes out and says, get a quick scoop on the XRP with these facts. XRP is the native token on the XRP ledger, the XRPL, founded in 2012 by David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, and Arthur Bureau. David Schwartz still works for Ripple. Jed McCaleb, currently over at Stellar XLM. Arthur Bureau, still a great guy. XRP utilizes a consensus mechanism called the XRP Ledger Consensus Protocol to validate transactions. XRP is scalable up to 1,500 transactions per second, but can achieve up to tens of thousands of transactions per second. So, in my opinion, this is why I think banks are going to start utilizing the XRP token. Fast, easy, efficient, and very, very cheap. Moving on, tokenization on the XRPL takes a significant step forward with Ripple and ARCXEX renewed collaboration. Explore more of the impacts of builders and users alike. You guys can click that down below. And then the last thing that we're going to be going over is Paul Grewal. He's the chief legal officer over at Coinbase. Says Coinbase submitted another set of concerns with the SEC Gov over the agency's proposal to expand the definition of exchange. In short, the SEC's proposal lacks critical analysis, rests on irrational assumptions, fails to show that there are any problems in the need for regulation, and vastly overstates the proposal's purported benefits. At the very least, it should be withdrawn or rewritten. The SEC failed to collect basic information and conduct an economic analysis about how the proposal would affect DEXs, yet it published forward anyway with its irrational assumptions. The SEC should decline to extend the proposal rule of the DEXs it could have drastic consequences for millions of Americans who engage in digital assets, not to mention the harm that it could bring to the innovation of the growing DEX market. Further, the SEC starts with the assumption that there are some problems with the industry in need of correction, yet fails to prove that the problems even exist. This is not how rulemaking should be done. At the minimum, the proposal should be withdrawn and corrected. As always, we appreciate the SEC's careful consideration of our comments, and we look forward to engaging on the importance topic further. You can read our full letter here, and again, it's going to be in the comments below. And he comes out and says, secondary sales of Bitcoin, not securities transactions. Secondary sales of Ethereum, not considered secondary securities transactions. XRP of secondary sales of XRP transactions, not securities transactions. Everyone else, according to our friends over at the SEC Gov, too bad, because you've somehow got an ecosystem, and only because XRP went through that court case. All of these other ones, Bitcoin and Ethereum, both were basically just told by the SEC, you guys are good. XRP had to win in a court case over 4 years, millions and millions of dollars. Lost from Ripple. Maybe they try to sue the SEC, try to get some of that back. Only time's going to tell on that. But Obviously, we might need to have some more court cases, or we really just need Congress to step in and say the SEC overstepped, because obviously the judges are ruling in favor of all these cryptocurrency companies, but only time will tell. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel, and if you guys can invest with the big dog, stay on the porch. Thank you guys, and have a good one.